Howdy folks. So if you already read the title of this video, this is not a remake, this is the English version, because a colleague reminded me that the end of my powder mills video was a little bit abrupt, which can happen, and yeah, so I'm revisiting this place today as he's going to be fascinated with my videos. I'm just said, okay, I'm going to do an English version in the English language, and I'm going to bring this thing to a proper end. And yeah, so let's begin. And because my colleague had some insights and told me some stuff that I should take on this video, that's why this video is dedicated to him and his wife. And so let's begin. So the building over there is called nowadays the Schillerhof, and it is quite a view. Back in the time when the gunpowder mills had taken up business here, the coach driver would live in this house, and this is why it looks so different from all the others, because the coach driver's family was mostly poor. It was a family business, and when a mill blew up, this could shatter the houses. There are more houses over there, we will see in a minute. And so the coach driver's family had no money to rebuild it that often. This is why they built it for once in stone. And also they had little renovations, but it never broke down completely, so they saved a lot of money over the time. And we will just go this direction, there's a way, and gonna make it up to the first powder mill, I hope. So let's start. I nearly have forgotten to tell you where we are at the moment, and just take a quick look on the map. We are at North Rhine-Westphalia, okay, and we are at a village called Altenberg, somewhere in between Odenthal and Burscheid, near Leverkusen, and yeah, that's where we are, and that's where we are to be about cycling around. One thing is over there, I'm going to show you. Wait a second, because that's also part of the history here. You're going to see this arch. This arch was built in the early 1900s. So the history of gunpowder making has started here around 1700, and this arch here was built by the later owner of this area, Karl Haniel. We also can see these markers here would have been in his sense, absolutely, because this shows the route we are going to follow. This shows the other route that is nearby, to whom this belongs, and which map you have to have. If you want to have a paper map, you can just take a map that has these on them from this club here. This is a trekking club, and you can follow these routes. So Karl Haniel, he also loved trekking, and he came here in around 1920 or so. I believe he was very often here, loved the people, loved the land, knew about the powder mills that had been here for quite some time, and he bought all this area to renovate a monastery. And yeah, I believe his wife pressed him into this, but later more about this. Let's go check out the first powder mill. Alright, so we are at the powder mill. What you can see here is the surplus water canal. All the water not used, or after the water was used because the mills were water powered at the beginning, goes in this canal. If you're going to see some dirt and garbage around here, don't worry, this will be cleaned up soon, as last year we had the flood and this area was pretty much underwater, so this is why there can be some garbage at the time. And I'm going to take a look at one of those bunkers here. These bunkers were used for powder storage. So we can see at the top there is an exhaust pipe, I believe. Is it? Yeah, it really is. And all those black dots in the walls were made for shelving. So, don't know, is this the second or is this the first one? I think it is the first one, yes. So this might have been the bunker where all ready powder would be stored after packaging it. And you can see it has a large blast wall behind it. This blast wall was used to protect people outside of this mill area here. This is the whole area that was once being a mill or packaging plant mostly, to protect those people outside when there was something blowing up, so they wouldn't be in danger, and the blast would go upwards rather than sideways. So here we have the other bunker. That one is even about the same size. I forgot to bring a light. Hopefully the video light does. Hopefully it works itself out with the video light. Let me fumble a bit. Yeah, it's on. Should take a look inside here. Also, there has been an opening, and oh wow, this is somewhat resonant. And you can see also there shelvings would have been connected to the walls, and also some yeah, I believe that they also had something to do with ventilation, keeping this place safe. Ooh. What a sound. So one of the mills is located over there, and we will take a look at this in a few seconds. If you wonder how and from where the water was coming, you might not have seen it the first time, but I'm going to show you right now as we go and enter this powder mill area. You can see it up there where the stones are, where the rocks come out of the side here, there's a canal going right through there, all the way down this direction, and there once was water inside that powered the machinery here. That was until the manufacturers, the manufacturing families, bought the first steam engine. And you know what? From then on, things really got weird and wild. Anyhow, I have to lock down the bicycle, and then we're going to take a look at the mill over there. This is a second storage compartment, and there we have it. It still survived the flooding of the area. It's all mushy here. Up there, that is one of the water source canals outlets. You can see it has been made from brick and concrete, and it doesn't hold water anymore because, as I said, with the first steam engine that was bought here in the late 1800s, around 1870, things started to get more organized and really crazy as the manufacturing families got together and eventually formed a company, even buying a munitions plant in southern Germany, which is now known as DWM, Fine Munitions for Hunters. So here again, the excess water canal, a little wall, and remnants of the foundations over there. Take a look, and yeah, we actually can get there. It's quite dangerous walking over this slim area. Now it's all overgrown, and here once a mill was installed. The water would come from up here, go into the mill house, turn the milling wheel, and would then go into a somewhat cellar-like structure. That's what this wall is from, and would go out here on this side. Those milling machines were from the very beginning on made from wood. Even nails were not used because nails were made out of metal, and everything that could spark a flame or spark a spark would be very, very dangerous. There is another view on another canal, and over there are still remnants, I believe. Last time I went here, yes, there's another mill. There's another part of the foundation of that mill, and it's now all overgrown. However, those milling machines made completely out of wood would rather stomp than having to do with millstones, because millstones even could spark a flame or make a spark, and that would mean that danger was imminent. So everything made from wood and tools made from silver or other non-sparking materials, and this is how they got along for several decades, if not 100 of years. with the industrialization, this turned over, and now the machinery was powered by steam engines. Steam engines would produce electricity. This allowed for more convenient production cycles, higher output levels, you know, all this what makes industrialization so satisfactory. But at the beginning of the First World War, these manufacturers here seemed to have a golden time, because they could make money out of every shell, every part of powder they made. Anyhow, it would soon come to an end, because the end of the First World War meant that those powder mills had to be razed to the ground, because it was ordered by the Treaty of Versailles. However, DWM and the larger munitions factory in southern Germany survived that, delivering their goods to the Allied nations. You might ask why in the Third Reich those mills were not reopened. Just because industrialization was finished, now technologization took place, and it was another technology to make gunpowder, and gunpowder wasn't that needed anymore, as with the invention of nitrocelluloses all had changed. This is how the gunpowder milling in this valley came to an end. But this is the start of a second story I want to tell you in this video, and I mentioned him before. It's the story of Karl Haniel. So let's find out what this all got to do with him and the Haniel family. So, okay, we are at mill number 2, but unluckily we can't see anything from the foundations because it's all overgrown in this area, but it would be likewise somewhere there, more there. And the last time I came here, there was much more trees. They have all toppled over, fallen down, been spilled away by the flood. And also, this little pond here this was an artificial pond for the water that comes down the hillside. And this is absolutely clear, cool. You can drink it just directly on the spot, but you should just do a small little filtering, because those Jurassic crabs, they live inside the water, and you don't want to accidentally swallow them because when you like them. If not, you wouldn't even mind it that you have just drunk one of these creatures. But down here we can see this is how the mills were situated in this place here. So you had 2 water wheels powering 2 mills with 1 axle. So you had more power, but only a little, because you would power 2 of those milling stone systems here. And this is the situation. So there was 1, 2, 3 mills. That was the magazine building that also, and there somebody of the mill owners lived. This is where we are now. So we're likewise going to get to see some of the mills. That would be cool. I just take a look for you. Let's continue. Oh my gosh, this is so freaking loud. And that's only the water coming down from there. This here had once been a bridge connected to a weir. And the weir is seen up there. Yeah, that concrete structure. On the other side it was demolished to give more flow to the water. But still, we have this little weir keeper house down there. So this is where the maintenance personnel of this waterwork would have his equipment, and he would likely be situated over the whole day steering the gates of that weir. We're just gonna take a look at this and get down there in a few seconds. I have to take a look if I can see any other structures around here, but virtually no. Still so loud. Wow. Nearly tripped. And this is a Weir house. It's only a very small space, really large brick walls, concreted. It's looking like a bunker, and if you think about it, it makes absolute sense. There's even a water pipe that seemed to have been once connected to this house, or perhaps it held an electric cable. I don't know at the time. You can really see the whole structure was simply set up on the rock bed here. There you can see it, that gap down there. And the water forced the concrete to erode, and the stones that were under this would just fall into the river. So much power. Wow. And the weir was really needed by the black powder mills, because even with a steam engine running all the power, you needed water for that steam engine, and you needed water for the mills before the steam engine was built. So you need something to regulate the flow of water so that you can have a permanent production. This is why this weir here was located up above the mills. So all the mills are down there. There is where the water comes from. And this is where the water would be held back and formed some kind of reservoir. We can see this is all really washed out here to have a permanent supply of water. Last time I was in this place, I found a teapot down under the bridge, and thought about that this might have been used by those people who built the bridge in the 1960s, 60s, 70s, I don't know. Or it might be part of the household of the monastery that's up there. It's all overgrown. We have all the leaves, so we can't see it, but we're gonna go right there, because there our story continues in pictures. And before we go there, I'm gonna tell you how it was going on with Karl Haniel. Haniel came here to this area. He wandered around, enjoyed the nature, took his wife here. His wife saw the monastery and said, that's it. This is something you must buy, because you want to be so close up to Krupp and Thyssen families. You have to get this monastery. And he did, because he liked it. He liked the landscape. And he said, okay, I'm gonna buy it, and you do whatever you do. And so this was one very big building that became known around the rich people, the wealthy people, and those from higher standings. And he bought this in around, I don't really know, 1936 or what? However, it took some time, and they invited all people from what was in their range, yeah? And Thyssen came, Krupp came, they had even tennis players, which were famous at the time here, training for tennis matches. And they also had the family of Hohenzollern as guests, and the Stauffenbergs. You see where this leads to a bit, if you know what I'm talking about. This was in the time before the outbreak of the Second World War. But unlucky for Karl Haniel, his wife turned out to have some Jewish ancestors. And the Nazis came and demanded from him that he would do something about this. He said no to any divorce, changed his mind upon what he had said earlier about the Nazis, because he said that they should let Hitler do his thing. He would calm down eventually when the Nazi party came to power. And now he was thinking the other way around. What he did was he presented this monastery to the party, and took a small house nearby, the well house, and lived in there so he could take a look at what was going up there. The official story that was later used to key the background behind why he moved from the monastery into the well house is that this house became too big for him. But hear me out. He loved the land. His wife loved this house. They had some kids playing around there, their own kids, loved this area. And he even had an engraving on the entry to the house, to the monastery, that said, "This place smiles at me the most, so why should he move out because it was too big?" People at the time, especially wealthy people, loved big houses. I think that he was driven out by the party, which is also rumored around here. And yeah, when he died in around 1944, 1945 or what, I have to take a look at this man. Oh my God, I have forgotten it. He could not see the end of the war coming. But his wife afterwards moved to America, where she lived for the rest of her life. Her kids became wealthy people, stayed wealthy, and even had good jobs. So if this name sounds familiar, Haniel, it comes from French and means hane, which is donkey. But if you take a look at the Ruhr area, there were some coal mines named after this family, Haniel, Prosper Haniel especially, because they were the owner of this mine, and this is where the wealth came from. So he empowered the Nazi war machine or his family empowered the Nazi war machine and he was driven out by the Nazis, absolutely possible. And even plausible, because they wanted wealth, they wanted money, and they wanted to have this all German and no, not Jewish. Yeah. Otherwise, it's good that at this point his wife moved out when he died in around 1944, because in the late 50s, something down this road there changed completely the landscape. Absolutely. We're going to take a look at in a few seconds, but first let me show you the monastery. That up there is the house. That's the monastery. So this part is the oldest part, which was renovated by the Haniel family. And to the left of it we can see the newly built addendum, because the house after World War II got into the hands of the Catholic Church, which made a vacation home out of this for the poorer working class families. But it burned down and was renovated afterwards. Nowadays it was a convention center, I must say, and even that is, I believe, closed because the corona outbreak, and it was too costly to run it and reopen it after the lockdown ended. We went past the monastery and there's another stone arch. Again, we have those trekking markers, but most interestingly we got this here. Let me tilt the camera a bit up there. Got this, and that was the place where the plaque was held, displaying the name Haniel and the words "Trekkers and hikers are welcome to this place." So let's walk back to the bike and carry on in an area that trekkers and hikers amongst the way might also like to see and visit. And there we have it again. This is the Eifgenbach, I believe, the side arm of it, because it has many arms here. So let's carry on. Woo! Folks, I must say, I'm absolutely out of breath. Just this road nearly killed me, so to speak, as this I wasn't prepared for. It goes up at such a steep angle. I initially had thought that what comes next would be actually a bit smaller in size, so as you have seen in this little tilt shot right now, before that, this is huge. So let's go see. Oh wow. That is really huge. Yep, this is a dam. And that's the reservoir behind it. Spanning several valleys, gorgeous, and taking up millions of liters of water from the river Dhünn and several smaller others. But this dam has a twist. It's not one dam, it's several of these. And we can just stop here and take a look onto a map that I have prepared. So every red dot in this map is a dam that makes up the pre-stages of this huge body of water. And even a small river, I've read about this, a small river was coming more up from the north and from the direction you're looking now, had to be put into a tunnel due to the construction of the dam, and would later be let out into the reservoir. Wow, this is so wide and open. Normally I would have said I'd bring my drone out here to show you, but I don't think that's a good idea, because flying with a drone near such bodies of water poses problems and also inflicts with several laws. So that's why I left the drone at home. And what you're seeing now is the pumping tower. That's the pumping station that takes the water from the reservoir, leads it through that bridge, I believe, and partially also through other tubes into the turbine house, and this little tubed structure under the bridge, that's the outlet, that's the overflow outlet. We're gonna take a closer look. Interesting part of this is, whoops, let me just get the bike safely. Wow. So the other interesting part of that story is that in this area up there, there's a small dam. Behind that corner is a small dam, and behind there is also a dam. So the twist in the story is that below the surface of the water here, buried under million tons of water, are located several villages. The villages had to move out. The towns got raised, the villages got raised, and the foundations are still there. And I don't know who was it who told me that in one of these dams, I believe it was it the Monastery Dam? I don't know. They said that there is located a church which was still intact at the time when this got flooded, and when the water drops lower, you can hear the church bells. But this here, I absolutely can hear nothing except my voice. Oh. Robins have fun, they're gonna hunt. So the weather is about to change. Anyhow, let's take a closer look. This reservoir here supplies cities like Cologne, Leverkusen, Solingen, Gummersbach, curtain all around here with fresh water, and it's also used to keep the water level at a stable height over the course of the year. So in times with much rain, it takes up all the water, and the water comes all up here until it goes through the emergency exhaust. Someone must have disturbed them. And at times when there is hot weather, like in the summer, the water level drops and gives off an equal amount of water to the rivers of Dhünn and two smaller little rivers here. So this helps keeping the ecosystem stable and all people around here with fresh water, which is great. Alright folks, I've returned to the well house and have a cappuccino before it's too late in the evening to return home. So yeah, that's it for the video, and I hope I see you soon on YouTube, or you see me soon on YouTube. So yeah, that's it. Stay safe, and till then.